So, what happens when this idea of perfect, unwavering faith runs right into our very human tendency to mess up? Today, we're going to dive into a really profound passage that explores that exact question. We're looking at this delicate dance between a perfect standard and a very human plea for grace. Let's get into it.
Everything really kicks off with this incredibly powerful statement: we hear and we obey. Now, this isn't about just blindly following orders. It's about a conscious, active choice to accept divine guidance. It's a way of saying, we're ready, we're listening. So what kind of foundation do you need to make a pledge that's strong?
And that's where we get to the pillars of belief. To really understand that kind of commitment, you have to look at what's holding it all up.
So, according to the text, this faith is built on 4 pillars, and they're all connected. First up, belief in one God, who is referred to here as Allah, the ultimate source of everything. Then you have His angels, these unseen beings who carry out His will. Next are the books, the divine scriptures that hold the actual message. And finally, the messengers, the prophets who were chosen to bring that message to all of us. This is the bedrock for everything else we're going to talk about.
And here's something that's really significant. It's this idea of unity. It's not just about believing in the messengers. It's about accepting all of them as part of one long, unbroken chain of guidance. The idea here is to reject any kind of hierarchy, to see their core messages as one and the same.
Okay, so once you got that foundation of faith locked in, the conversation naturally shifts over to our actions. And wherever there's action, there's got to be accountability. So the big question becomes, how exactly are our deeds measured in a system like this?
Well, the core concept is individual accountability. It's a super direct principle. Every single person, every soul, is held responsible for their own actions. The consequences, whether they're good or bad, are tied directly to you and you alone. You can almost picture it like a personal ledger for your soul. You do something good, you get a positive entry, and you benefit from it. On the flip side, a negative act, that goes on your ledger, and you're the one who has to bear that consequence. It's a really clear system of cause and effect.
But, and this is a huge but, there's a crucial piece to this puzzle. This system isn't about setting impossible standards. Accountability is always tied to your capacity. You're only held responsible for what you are actually able to do.
Right? So that brings up a very human question, doesn't it? If we're all accountable, but we're also all imperfect, we're designed to make mistakes, then what happens? What happens when we forget something, or we mess up, or we're just faced with a challenge that's too big for us?
And the answer to that question is found in how we're meant to respond to our own mistakes. It's a plea for divine grace. This is where that strict accountability meets this idea of limitless compassion.
The prayer kicks off with this incredibly honest admission of just being human. It's basically saying, hey, we're going to forget things and we're going to make mistakes. It's not an excuse, not at all. It's a plea for understanding and acknowledgement of our own imperfections. And this line, it ties right back to that idea of capacity we just talked about. This is a plea for fairness. It's a request that the challenges and the tests we face in life are ones we can actually handle, that we aren't pushed beyond our absolute limits. From there, the prayer builds in this beautiful 3-step request. The very first ask is to be pardoned. You can think of this as asking for our smaller shortcomings to just be overlooked, kind of like wiping the slate clean on a minor mistake.
Then the plea gets even deeper. It moves to forgive us. Now, forgiveness is a lot more profound than a pardon. This is asking not just to look past the mistake, but to completely erase the sin itself, to scrub the record totally clean.
And finally, it hits its absolute peak with "have mercy upon us." This is the ultimate plea. It goes way beyond just a pardon or forgiveness. This is asking for active compassion, for divine grace and kindness to be poured out on us. It's a request for protection and just loving care.
This entire system, faith, accountability, mercy, it's all shaped by one ultimate outlook on life and what comes next. So, where's all this heading? What's the final destination?
It's all captured in this one simple yet massive statement. It's a declaration of total trust, a recognition that every path we take, every journey, ultimately leads back to the Creator. It's an acknowledgement that the final judgment and our return are to God and God alone.
The prayer then wraps up on a really powerful note of strength. After admitting our weaknesses and begging for mercy, it circles back to a firm faith in God as the ultimate protector. The plea then becomes a request for empowerment, for victory over all the challenges, both inside us and out in the world.
And all of that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We've just walked through a system of perfect individual accountability, where every single action has a direct consequence. And yet, at the very same time, at its core is this desperate human plea for pardon, for forgiveness, and for infinite mercy. So the question to reflect on is this: how can these two incredibly powerful ideas, perfect justice and boundless compassion, actually exist in harmony?